So we can think about, for example, a new mathematical theory which would help us to cope with complexity.
Yes, yes. Yes, in mathematical and computer science tools. I already mentioned the question of big data is forcing us to understand phenomena, amounts of data, sets of data, and to extract information from them in a way which is non-Turing comfortable.
I see.
And we don't have anything beyond Turing. We should go beyond Turing. We should understand how to do this. Another issue is when people talk about big data, they are, I think, they all believe, or except for the specialists in the field, that dealing with big data would be using our informatics notions, those that we use nowadays, simply with more and with larger inputs. But this is not the case because big data generate new classes of problems for which we don't have the solution yet. So again, this is an area in which we are seeing the first shy steps. For example, in dealing with data, it turns out that there are topological techniques invented by mathematicians to cover a completely different area than that of data that are giving promising results. So certainly new mathematics, again I would mention topology, combinatory, probability theory, but above all computer science. This time that computer science turns into real science.
This
is a quotation. There was recently on the ACM, the Journal of Computer Scientists, there was an editorial by the president, Cerf, who is one of the inventors of Internet. And he said exactly this: is there any science in computer science? The answer is no, but there could be, and it's time that we get there.
Yeah, it's also mentioned in the white paper of the Global System Science research group. Probably you've heard about it. So that we really need a science, a real science in the Leonardo da Vinci point of in the Galilean sense.
I was very pleased that in your program, in the first line, you say art, research, and science. It's art belongs to the same realm.
I see. And do you think that according to some researchers, big data could really revolutionize science in the sense that they could stress more the idea of correlation over the deductive reasoning. Do you think this might be the case, or is it's an exaggeration?
No, I believe this is the case, and it reminds me. I'm sorry, I don't have the quotation under my eyes, so I will certainly get it wrong. But Wittgenstein, the famous philosopher, said exactly this 60 years ago. It will be a new way of doing science, but extracting correlations from the data is a tremendous task, very difficult. Again, we are doing the first steps along a path that will, I believe, be very, very long. The methods we are using nowadays to explore big data sets are methods coming from artificial intelligence. You probably heard about machine
Yeah,
learning
of course.
techniques or pattern recognition techniques and so on. The question is that what you do there is you already know something about your system. You must know something about your system. And you base on that something, you train your computer to recognize that sort of correlation, and then you go and explore the data. But what if you have a bunch of data and you know anything about it? How can you extract a subset of this data and train your machine? What you extract can be meaningless.
Yeah,
It,
so
it could easily be that you train your machine to recognize something. And we have plenty of problems of this sort, which are waiting for more efficient techniques. For example, you certainly know about the Genoma project.
yes.
The Genoma project is a big project, a very successful one. We are now uh, we have now in our hands the human genetic code, you could say. But believe me, if you enter the data of that huge data set, which is given you by the Genoma project, without any clue, without any a priori piece of information, you would not distinguish a human being from a beetle or from a flower.
Yeah, of course.
Uh, on the other hand, if you need to know something in advance, you are losing the potential of that amount of data, that big amount of data, because you go and look only for subsets. It's like the drunk who's looking for the keys under the street lamp, because there is where you can see that the big information is somewhere else.
Yeah, I see. According to you, which breakthroughs in the fields you mentioned could impact in a massive way everyday life? We might think about, for example, quantum computers or
Uh,
other set of
and
technologies.
again, there are several things several answers I can give you. Uh, well, first of all, I mentioned new knowledge about solid state physics, because one of the possibilities that I'm very confident about is nanomaterials, nanostructures. Those can revolutionize medicine. You may know that in the United States, in parallel with the NASA mission to Mars, they started a very large program, which is, I don't remember exactly the title, but the title is essentially, if you cannot take a man to the hospital, take the hospital inside the net. Because in this mission to Mars, there will be probably 30 or 50 people staying away for years.
Yeah,
And they will get sick. So, everybody wishes that they will not, but many years is a long span. So they are trying to design devices that will stay in your body and check all your functions and react, delivering drugs or taking the measure. This is a big application. Um, I already mentioned that understanding the difference between living matter and inert matter would eventually lead us to be able to design enzymes or proteins or living objects that can certainly help in medicine. Um, Controlling information in big data as a social side, which is very important. We can give policymakers and decision makers tools to make their decisions more rational than you know, imagining different scenarios and understanding the consequences of their decision. Um, and there, the number of questions that are facing society is tremendous, from climate to pandemics to finance and economics, you name it. I mean, it's all big data based and it's all decision making. And again, last but again certainly not least, if we could dominate the mechanisms of cognition, of self-consciousness uh, in the brain, the human brain, we might be able to, uh, manipulate the brain in case of pathologies and beat mental diseases or
Neurodegenerative disease.
find solutions which are not based on chemicals which are dangerous in different parts of the body.